Hi, my loves. I hope you all are good and having a good day. Let me put my notes here. I didn't make proper notes, but I was jotting something down because today's. Hi. My name is Maputi. If this is the first time you're seeing my face or coming across my videos, there will be a title here somewhere about what the video is all about. But before you decide to stay, please know that I don't get to the point. I ramble, I go around and around in circles, and I talk in codes sometimes. And there's nothing attractive about my content in terms of Western standard. And yeah, we will be in here for an hour, 40 minutes in, and you will still don't know what the point is. Don't get to the point. Now, if you know yourself that you are the type of person who is impatient and you prefer teachers who get to the point, who are straightforward, don't waste your time watching this video. Just proceed, because then now you'll be coming in the comments and say, get to the point. I don't get to the point, and I will never get to the point. So let's not make each other's life hard. You continue, we stay. I'll give you a second to continue to leave. And then to those who decide to stay, if you are new here, hi, my name is Maputi. When you do address me, please don't address me as Gogo Mkulu. Don't tokoza me. Just say hi, Maputi. When you do come to the inboxes, please do greet in the inbox. Don't just write your message without greeting me. And I don't want to hear your sob stories. I don't want to know what's happening in your life. We all have things that are happening in our lives. We've all been through a lot. Everyone, all these, how many people, followers are here now? Over 10,000 people on this page are going through a lot. You're not the special one. So if you want to make it special, you book a consultation and I'll give you my time. Fine. Now, for those of you who are unable to access me through inboxes, please email me. The email is on my link. There's a link to my website with all the prices. If you just go through it and go through that pages, look at what is written there, you will understand the different packages. People still go to the website and say they don't understand anything. And it's the most straightforward thing ever there. I even give a little bit of a description of what to expect. Fine. Now, if you're new here, please take the time to go to the videos that I've posted. There's a wealth of information that I've dropped as gems there. Okay, and to my loyal followers, thank you guys for being with me on this journey, for us walking this road together. Okay, I'm continuing on yesterday's video, right? With a twist. With a twist to our Mkulu, who doesn't like teaching. Hi, yo, to the person who you know yourself, to the person who bought Mkulu Remy Martin. Hi, you did something. Now we are teaching. All of a sudden, we are interested in teaching. Okay, so half of the stuff he talks to me about, I will never be able to share them. And maybe at some point later on, when humanity has raised this vibration, we can get there, right? But there are some stuff that him and I have been discussing. We started discussing this in June. When I went through my transition in June, the quantum leap that I did in June, and I had to travel, and I was in the West Coast, in a particular place called St. Helena. I've been in St. Helena for a while, even though I'm not there now, but I was in St. Helena for a while. And during that period, we started having conversations, because as much as he would leave, he would still come back a lot, right? And the conversations will not have only just him and I, but there'll be other grandfathers and grandmothers. We'll have all these conversations. And so in the midst of the crew was some of the white ancestors that I have, right? And then we have a conversation, and a particular topic kept on bringing it. They kept bringing it up. But the thing about my ancestors is that they don't bring things. Sometimes they're not obvious about what they say. They will bring conversations up, and as I pay attention, I'm like, why do they keep repeating the same things? It's as if for them to say, you need to pick it up yourself. That what are we trying to tell you? Right? And so now I keep thinking about this. I keep thinking about it. And I'm like, okay, let me ask. Right? But I'm still not getting a clear answer. And so then as I'm thinking about it, so I really love the properties in St. Helena. And being in St. Helena, so there's something about that happens when you love a particular place or something. There's a glitter. There's what we call the rose-colored glasses, right? You wear rose-colored glasses when you see this thing that you love. Until you take off the rose-colored glasses, you do not see the trueness of that particular thing. Now, the topic that kept on coming up was focused on one particular place. And they kept on saying, we say, and I've been teaching you, and I've been saying to you that let's take it from yesterday's video. I said that we left Atlantis, spread it into different parts of the world, then established our own clans and colonies, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the video from yesterday and the other ones that I talked about. And then I then said, once we had done that, we then started replicating the structures that we've had back in Atlantis, but at a lesser level. Okay? Fine. We started replicating that. So now, according to the colonizers' narrative, when they got to Africa, they found us living in mud houses. And we didn't even have clothes. We're living in the wild and we didn't have anything. Right? That's the narrative that they push forward. Fine. Now, in Wealth is Your Birthright video, I came with a different narrative. We built pyramids. We built structures, right? And not only that, we went to Europe and introduced structures to them. When we got to Spain, there were not structures in Spain. And the Moors got to the black Moors. The Moors are black. I don't even know why we say black Moors, because all the Moorish people were black. It's just the word Moorish is black, means a black person. The Moorish people, when they got to Spain, they started building integral buildings that today we still go to Spain to look at. They brought in education. They brought in reading and writing. They brought in water and electricity and storage systems and electricity. They even brought in bathing. Right? Fine. Now, how did we go from being able to do these two things to then living in mud houses? How did that happen? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. The living in mud houses is the narrative that someone was trying to push. Why did we go and live in mud houses? How did we get there? They didn't find us in mud houses. That's for sure. Okay. Now, so what is the truth? Right? What is the truth? Okay. Now, if we were able to build such structures as the pyramids and the why couldn't we replicate it all over Africa? If we were able to go into Europe and build all those structures, why couldn't we replicate it again? Right? And not only that, the same kings in Europe were living in these castles that didn't have electricity. They said they were able to build those castles, but they couldn't put electricity in them. They were sleeping in those castles with animals and weed for them to keep warm. They couldn't put electricity, they couldn't put water, they couldn't do anything with those castles. But yet they built the castles. How? And yet we had better things than them, who we were living in mud houses. Right? So now the narrative, the story that's been coming up with my ancestors has been to say, who actually built those structures? Who actually built those structures? And who were the original builders of those structures? Right? So my grandfather keeps on saying to me, he was even saying it this week. He says, you need to look in South Africa. The narrative of the colonizers said they colonized us, first of all. They said that they found us living in mud houses and we didn't have anything. We did not have anything. And then they came in with all these structures, water, electricity, and everything. So the rest of Africa had everything, and yet in the south, we didn't have anything. How? And yet we were nomadic people traveling around the continent. How? And then, so the thing about my grandfather, he doesn't beat around the bush. And he says, no, the structures were here when they got here. And so at first I thought, but the structures were here. And it's like, the structures were here when they got here. They found the structures. Even the houses that they claim to have built, they found them here. Hence, that's why they would name those houses after themselves. The one who found the house would kick the people and name it after himself or herself. Okay. And then he then said to me, go into history, go into with the age of AI. In the age of AI, anything you Google, AI pulls out all the files, right? Go on Google and try and find out where all these people build their structures. At first, now I'm in St. Helena, right? And I love St. Helena and the way they structure these things. Now, as I'm renting the Airbnbs there, and I'm in I'm in nice places. As I'm renting the Airbnbs in June, I'm like, man, the more you live there, the more you realize, man, not everything that glitter is gold. The cracks, the quality of the craftsmanship of the houses is low. It's very low. Even us in townships, we build better houses than what they're building. They just make them look beautiful. But the reality is that it's not. This month I went back to St. Helena because I had someone visiting me. I went back to St. Helena and we were in a newly built house, Airbnb. And mind you, like the finishing of it, it was just like it on the outside, it looks good. But when you go deep and really study certain things, you're like, something is not giving here. And not only that, the owners of the construction sites in the West Coast are all white people. And the people who work there to do the actual building are people from maybe mainly Zimbabwe and Mozambique, right? That's not the issue there, obviously. Because if the white people were to build, they can't even build themselves. They won't come in and put a whole house and structure it and build it. Number one, they will never come in and do a foundation from the bottom up and take a house up themselves. They will always need Africans to do the labor and work. Why? Why? Just like how they are not making the Louis Vuitton bags and the Gucci bags themselves, they will always need a melanin nation to do the craftsmanship. Because melanin people, we are known for our craftsmanship, from the Indians to the Chinese to the black people. We are good in craftsmanship. Leather comes from Nigeria. The leather bags that we are saying, oh, pure 100% leather. 100% leather shoes. Italian leather. There's no Italian leather. That's Nigerian leather. Because we are known for our craftsmanship. Even our ancestral clothing, even from our ancestral clothing to our traditional clothing, the craftsmanship of it is out of this world. From all cultures, from all indigenous cultures, you look at the craftsmanship of their traditional outfits. That's when you see that when it comes to craftsmanship, melanin people are the best at it. And we all have something we specialize in. Yeah, the Arabs might not say they are the melanin, but they're melanin. The original Arabs were melanin. And what do they specialize in? Rugs. Okay, fine. We had all these things that they said they brought to us. We are the craftsmen, the crafter of those things. And yet they say they brought them to us. How did they bring the things to us? When we have perfected the craft of it. And yet they cannot move a rug, a blanket on their own. You see the blankets that they make, those piece, that's all they can do. Or crochet, that's all they can do. But integrate craftsmanship, never. Right? So now, as I'm looking at the houses, and I'm like, if these people really came to South Africa and built all these beautiful structures that we have inside, I'm not talking about modern structures. I'm talking about historical buildings. If they really did build all these structures, why have they not been able to replicate it to the quantity and the level of craftsmanship that they used? Then I was like, nah, man, I need to do research on this thing. I'm not done with my research, but I'm just putting it forward out there to just ignite our thinking. And with time, we will dive into it. Now, the thing is, who built the structures? Okay, fine. I started doing researches, right? Now, there's a pattern. I'm a pattern-orientated person. I pay attention to the patterns. There's a pattern. When white people build something, they always take pictures. They will take a picture of them building the thing themselves from the ground down and all the way to the top until they finish it. Example, the Eiffel Tower. You will go on the internet and you will not miss a picture of them being there and building it from the ground down. Number two, the Union Building. On the internet, you go on the internet, you will find pictures of the Union Building being built from the ground down, all the way going up. And yet, the Voortrekker Museum, there's not even a single picture of it being built from the ground down. No foundation. You always, on all the old pictures of the Voortrekker Museum, you always find the structure already there. The Voortrekker Museum, the Koopmans die Wethuis, the Melrose House Museum, the Rand Club, the Victoria House, the Cathedral of St. George Gennard in Grahamstown. It looks a little bit like the St. Michael Cathedral in Belgium. Even that one, we don't know build it. The St. George Cathedral in Cape Town, just to name a few. All those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all those 9 places I just mentioned, there's not even a single picture, not even a single picture of the foundational structures. And yet, some of them were built after the Union building. Some of them, they said, like the Voortrekker Museum, they said it was completed in 1949. But the Union building was completed in 1913. 1913? 1949. Unless if I don't know maths. Maybe math I'm bad. Maybe math is not mathing here. Maybe math is not mathing. Maybe math is not mathing here. Because don't we from 1949 go to 1980, 1990, then we go to the 2000s. And yet we have pictures of the Union building being built from the ground down, but we do not have pictures of the Voortrekker Museum being built from the ground down. You can actually even see what was added to the Voortrekker Museum. The picture of the woman holding the 2 kids. You can see that that stage was added there. You can see the carvings, that certain things were carved out on the museum to play out a story, but the actual structure, who built the actual structure? The cathedrals, the what, that's just to name a few. And then we go to Rome, the color gray cathedral. You can see the actual building that was there. Even the Dome del Milano. You can see there was a structure and they added structure to it. You never see the Colgre Cathedral. You never actually do see. You see, you know what they do? You see pictures where they show that, when they do constructions and there's those beams and what. You see that. But the structure is already there. There's no pictures that show you from the bottom. You see the extensions that they were doing. Never the actual building. The Edinburgh Castle. There's not even a single picture of the Edinburgh Castle. All the black and white pictures of the Edinburgh Castle is already there. Right? But yet the Eiffel Tower, they show us. They show us. Hagia Sophia, yet they show us. There's no picture of Hagia Sophia which was built. And the Hagia Sophia, you must also remember, I taught you this in the True Knowledge video. Constantine decided to move the Greeks to a different location. And that was Turkey. That's modern day Turkey. And in modern day Turkey, there were already people there. So the people who were there, who built, structures were already there when they got there. So they didn't build the structures. Now, let's make an example between the Domo del Milano Cathedral and the Salt Lake Temple. The Salt Lake Temple was built from 1853 to 1893. It took 40 years. There's pictures of it being built from the ground down. You see the masonry. You see every single thing being built. And yet, they said that the Domo del Milano took 836 years to build. And it was finished in 1965, and yet there are no pictures of it. Even today, they still have those beams standing in structures that have been sitting there forever. Every single picture that you see of them, for many years, there's this beams that's supposed to have been building something there, or reconstructing, or what, doing nothing. They're still there, and yet nothing is happening. Who built the structures? Who built them? Because it was not clearly the people who dominated them. So in the art of war, every single thing that you find in the land after you conquered, you take it and say it's yours and it belongs to you. And sometimes in the art of war, what they then do, they rewrite the history of that particular place that they just conquered. Especially if the monumental places hold a significant meaning to the indigenous people of the land. Then the art of war, you come and you change them to make it look like they are yours. Sometimes they even would build something in front of the monument that represent who they are, to cut and kill the history of the land. We see that in Europe a lot, in London a lot, where buildings have been built in front of other structures. And these structures, no one can tell you who built those structures. So when I'm having this conversation, because as I looked at St. Helena's, as I looked at some of the places here that have been built in the West Coast and in Cape Town and everything, and I'm like, we really need to go back and look at this. These people did not build anything. They did not come here and build stuff. The history, our history was rewritten. When they got here, they found structure. There was already structures that were sitting. The city hall was already there. The Johannesburg, I forgot to write it, had many buildings were already there, which were built by us. We had already built those buildings. And yes, not every single thing. How do I even say this? We need to go back and reread and rethink our narrative. Before colonizers, because even in past life dreams, before colonizers, the past life dreams appeared differently. Even the houses that we live in appeared differently before colonizers. And yet, this very same people went to Egypt and tried to destroy the Egypt. They even went to an extent to defame the figures in the structure, making sure they blow out the nose, making sure they make them look a little bit lighter. Still artifacts. In the British Museum, the majority of the most wealthiest artifacts, most expensive artifacts, are all coming from Africa. And they say it belongs to them, yet they stole them. So them stealing is okay. Whatever they steal belongs to them. And they name it after them. And yet they cannot replicate any of those things. They cannot replicate the Louis Vuitton logos are all. The Louis Vuitton logo is an African design from an African tribe, the Burberry, the Fendi, Versace's Medusa. Every single designer outfit, every single designers today, high fashion designers, their logos are all from Africa, just appropriated, taken from our people, appropriated, and sold back to us. So what did they start? Look at the things that they take from Asia. Feng Shui, yoga, India, every single thing, skincare, whatever. And those people are the tribes that splitted together, splitted after Atlantis. And my grandfather kept on saying, slavery is not your history, especially with us Africans. South Africans, there's no history of us that has slavery. Even segregation is not our history. It is their history, not our history. In our history, we don't have any of those things. And we keep focusing on their history because they cannot live with their history and the things that they had to do with their history. That's their history. Slavery is their history. I was watching something yesterday. I just came across something yesterday. And it said that the first president of America was a black man. The first ever president of America in Congress and every single thing was black and was rewritten out of history. And people don't talk about it. I just didn't write the name when I saw it. I saw it in passing and I was like, I'll come back. And when I came back, I forgot. I couldn't find the video. I should have liked it. I should have liked it so that I could find the video, but I couldn't. It said it was a black man. The first king of Belgium was a black man. Queen Charlotte was black. There are so many pictures that are coming up that are showing us that the original rulers of Europe were black people. Not only that, Beethoven, who they all revere as the greatest musician of all time, Beethoven was a black man. I've already told you this before. There are even evidences in books where they call them a Moorish. The Moorish with curly hair. We know that Shakespeare did it. And if you go Google and say Beethoven, you see some white men sitting like this, but take Beethoven. That's not Beethoven. In the original books, when they describe Beethoven, they talk about his skin being black, his hair being curly. And they say he's a Moorish. Shakespeare didn't write anything, Jack. Macbeth, what, yeah? Huh? Romeo and Juliet were not written by Shakespeare. They were written by a black Phoenician woman. And Shakespeare, all he was doing, he was the operator of the theater that had the plays. The signature is of another person. I forgot her name, but I did say her name in the video. In the other video, Wealth is Your Birthright. Nikola Tesla did not create electricity. He came to Africa to come and learn. All their knowledge, all their thinking, they all came to Africa to learn these things. So, we need, as black people, to reclaim our history. Because the history being fed to us is false, and it has a false narrative. No one found you living in a shack. No one found you living in a madhouse. The only reason we found ourselves in that situation is because we were kicked out of our homes. We were kicked out of our structures, and then we had nowhere else to go, and we were put in the wilderness. And in that wilderness, we had to create and start building structures for ourselves. But no one found us living like that. The narrative, the true story, go ask your ancestors. Go ask your ancestors who lived before colonizers and ask them, say to them, show me how you lived before the colonizers even set feet here. Right? In one of the past life dreams that I had, I told you about this, that I was a daughter of a chief. We had houses. We even had a fleet of ships. It was in that era where the wooden ships, we were still traveling with the wooden ships sailing across the ocean. And I would go with my father and we would travel to Europe. And when we traveled to Europe, the thing that always confused me about that dream is when we got to Europe, there were a lot of black people in Europe, but I knew I was in Europe. I knew some of these structures that I'm telling you about were already there when we were traveling there. And we lived somewhere in Africa. We had a structure, we had a whole village, we had people who were living. Look at Timbuktu. Look at all those structures in the coastlines that were never built by these people. They were already there when they came. When they came, they found those structures there. They just added some stuff. They were already there. Look at all of them. I'm even telling you that even the Islamic architecture was not what we call and say this is the more Islamic Arabian architecture. All of those were taken from Africa. When they would come and trade with us, they would then even take some of our learning. It's just that the Arabs are different. The Arabs didn't come and kill people and started claiming things that they were not theirs. Even if they conquered a nation, they still allowed the nation to rule themselves and say, let's work together. I was watching this professor one day, and it's like the Arabs didn't even know what to do after they conquered. They would be like, okay, we've conquered you, govern yourselves. And we will just come periodically to visit you. Let's work together. Let's learn from each other. And majority of the historical texts that are still left that we can refer back to when they talk about the Hebrews, the Arabs in their old text, the Arabs, old writers always refer to the Hebrews as black people. Not these Hebrews that were the Jews. They always said the Hebrews and the Jews were black people. When the Arabs will travel, they will always document, and the things that they will document are always contrary to what the colonizers documented, what the Arabs documented. And when you read them, you realize that the Arabs were not lying. That's what they found. It's just that the narrative that we are taught is different. And that's the narrative we are taught in school. And one thing about white people, if they did something, if they started something, they will want the whole world to know it. If they build something, they will make sure the pictures are there. And yet, every single thing that they build has pictures. I've been looking. Maybe the pictures are somewhere. I've been looking. I've been looking. I've been looking. And I'm not the only one to be asking these questions. Because you people in Europe are starting to ask, who actually built these structures? Why did the doors have to be this long? Who were these doors created for in these cathedrals? The ambience of the cathedrals, they still can't replicate the ambience of the cathedrals. Even in the Salt Lake Temple, they can't emulate the ambience, the integral structures, the masonries of these old cathedrals. They tried, but they couldn't. I'm not saying the Salt Lake Temple is not beautiful. It is beautiful, but it's not beautiful as the old ones. They tried, but they couldn't. And wherever they are, whenever they want someone to know who they are, they will always put a picture. There will always be a picture where they claim territory. You will see, go on Google and you will see pictures of segregation, different white, black. They will wear the segregation era like a mantle. They even have pictures of it. They even have pictures of police brutality. They even have pictures of, hey, they have pictures. The slums that they put us in, they paid pictures. They still even use the pictures of people starving. They would take people and put them in a position where they starve and they are crying in utopia. And then they will circulate those pictures that are they still circulate them in Europe to say people are starving in Africa. I once had a friend visit me from America. She was from New York. She came to visit me. Obviously, people go to Cape Town, Johannesburg, right? And I said to her, man, you need to have a luxury experience. Let's go to Kasi. And she's like, oh, yes, I went to Mandela House. They will never do anything to that Mandela House because they still need to portray this narrative. And she's like, I was in Kasi in Soweto. I saw Mandela House. I'm like, no, let's go to Kasi. Let's go. Not Mandela House. Let's go. Took it to Kasi. And she's like, there's no way. This is not a township. And she's like, the narrative that we are told about townships, this is not it. People in townships even today are living in better houses than what white people are living in. Our quality and standard of our houses are way, 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 way better, especially the ones that were not built by the governments, the ones that we build ourselves. We live in way better mansions than they are living in. The quality of the houses in St. Helena that they are recently building and the quality of the houses where I come from, Okasi, township, they are better than the ones that I saw in the tourist destinations. And she couldn't believe. She's like, there's no way. The yards, the what? No, you guys have big yards. And I'm like, and we are still complaining. These are not enough yards. We deserve better yards than this because we are the owners of the land. To the point that they left us with no houses and we went and started using shacks to build ourselves houses. Now, they've went back and started then using the very same shack material, and they call it IPR. And then they build their houses with it. Tile roofing. It's a Hispanic thing. It's a South America thing. Yeah, it's a Portuguese Spanish thing. Tile roofing. It's there all over. So they didn't build it. They didn't start it. They didn't even know how to do it. And yet they say that they built it. Culture appropriation. It's not just about culture appropriation. It's about the stealing and claiming and saying it was yours and then erasing the actual history. And the only way for us to will come to know the true history before colonizers, it is for our ancestors to keep showing us how they lived in their own dreams. And when they show you that, don't be confused. Write it down. Share it with people. And the more people we start sharing the dreams, the things that we were seeing before the white people came to colonize us, before they came and wrote a history that we don't identify with and said it was our history when that's not our history, then we will know who we truly are. Then we will wake up to our wealth and our birthright. Then we will know who we truly are. I say a lot of things. Melanin, they keep you here because melanin keeps on creating the minerals. I keep teaching you all these things and I hope they are getting in. I hope you guys are hearing me. You are not just excited by the hype of the message, but you're hearing me. And then after you hear me, go do your own research. Go actually search it for yourself and say, hi man, Osmaputi could be lying to us. Let me go look at the pictures. Go on Google. AI is available now. And AI will tell you if Osmaputi is lying or not. Right? I'm still doing my research and I'm still checking. And the reason why they even made me go down this rabbit hole, I love conspiracy theories because they are always the truth. The reason why they made me go down this rabbit hole was number one, because I need to teach a lesson on the masonries, the original masonries. But before we can even get there, you need to understand how much was stole. It wasn't just the land that was stole. It was every single thing. And then they tended and said that they came with it. Every single thing that they say they came with it and taught it to you, they did not have it. They stole it from you and then came back and then tried to teach it to you. Right? And I will sit there and I'm like, oh. And then my white ancestors will confirm it and say, yeah, that's true. That's true. All those things were already there when we got there. We never built any of those things. When we conquered, war is war. It's just that many people don't understand war, the art of war. That when people conquer in a war, they take everything. The only reason that black people were put in a situation that they were put in is that they don't know war. We are too kind for our own good. Even after all the gruesome things that white people did to us, we're still so forgiving and accepting. We still even say in South Africa, no, white people, we're not saying you should leave. You can leave, you can live in our country. We just give us our land back. We're still even so accommodating after every single thing that they did to us. We don't even segregate them. There is no white people, black people that did the same thing to white people that they did to us. And yet the white people are the most complainant people that they, hey, there's a genocide. Hey, they are being treated badly. The minute you take just a little bit of what they have, they will sound the trumpet to the whole world to say they're unjustly being treated. No, can you forget? Can you let it go? Can you lay it to rest? It's all done. It wasn't us. It was our grandparents. And yet you were still benefiting from the grandparents, everything your grandparents left you with. And yet you have not given up the spoils of war. And yet you are still living in privileges that your grandparents created for you. If validly that's not who you are, then give it up. Okay. If when it was not you, then give up the houses, the land and everything. Take it back and give it back to the black people. They will never. Even their kids will never give up their privileges and their what, but they will never. And yet they keep on saying, just can we forget about? No, we're not forgetting. We need to reclaim. If we forget, we will never reclaim what's truly ours. And that's going back and rewriting our history. And rewriting and writing this true history. Making movies about our true history. Not the one that's always full with slavery and war. Our true history. And that's when you need to start. Many of you are given so many gifts where you are in the creative field. You should be writing those movies. You should be writing movies that talk about our true history. I hope you guys are listening. And I hope you guys get it right. Ooh, I need to leave. It's going to start raining. And I have errands that I need to run. Okay, my loves. Bye.